Hello everyone in YouTube land. This is Laureen from Divination Apothecary, and today I just want to do a walkthrough of my newest Simply Halloween Lenormand deck. I know I'm late in the season and I'm sorry for that. I just designed it last minute. But for some of you, you celebrate Halloween year round. So maybe this is a deck that you might enjoy year round to have in your collection. So I thought it would be good to do a walkthrough. I do want to let you know that I have some of these in stock right now in my house, along with the matching bag, which has the title on one side and then just the image on the other, lined in black with a zipper, and it's padded, okay, to hold your deck in. I did not have time to do a custom tuck box for this one, so I made the bag available. It will arrive in shrink wrap for you, okay? So here we go. It is on 310 GSM linen cardstock. I'm going to do my best to get as close as I can so you can see the texture. It's a matte finish. If you've never worked with linen cardstock before, they feel light, they feel very thin, but the linen, the pockets in the top of, oh, there you can kind of see it. The pockets in the top of the cardstock are there on purpose to make the deck float like air. So they're really easy to shuffle. You can do a riffle shuffle, you can do overhand, you can do whatever you like. Okay, so linen, it just happens to be my favorite cardstock. So I hope you'll like it. If not, hey, we all have different tastes. That's all good. It's all good. Okay, and here's the backs. I just chose to do a little Halloween scene. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here comes a truck. Hold on one second. I live in a teeny little alleyway, and so trucks have to back up all the time to get in here, and then they have that annoying beep. So I'm very sorry that it interrupted our video, but hopefully it won't happen again. So here are the backs of the deck with the little skull, the cemetery, and the little trees. I know I just kind of liked the scene. It was a little bit different for the backs, okay? And this is the title card. All right, let's just kind of go through them one by one. This is the card that actually inspired the entire deck for me. How could you not love a rider horse mummy? I don't know. I'm head over heels in love with him. I think he's absolutely great. What you'll see on this deck, real simple, number up on the right. I do have the title coming down the side here, a little spider web and spider coming down, and then they have minimal details. I wanted it to be really clear what the symbol was because I know in Lenormand, we like to have a really clear symbol. I also like the rider kind of facing this way because he feels like he's coming into your experience. So a new arrival of an experience, if that makes sense. So there was the rider. The Clover, I actually created this out of pumpkins and a little eyeball to create the look of a clover, little bat at the top. And then I did this little blood spatter in the back, just kind of indicating like a sudden burst. It's like a sudden energy, a sudden opportunity, but it's fleeting because you can also wipe the blood off, right? So it's fleeting, it's not going to last forever. And that's why I came up with this design for the Clover. A little pumpkin on the bottom, and again, you'll see lots of skulls and little details throughout, but hopefully never overshadowing the symbol in this particular deck. Okay, then we have the ship. It's one of my favorites. Pirate ship with the little bats in the moon. I don't know if you can see it here. I'm going to come in closer. There is a little octopus arm coming up out of the, it's the Kraken coming up to get you from the ship. And the little like pirates flags up here, skull and crossbones. Okay, so that's the ship. The haunted house, number 4. A little bit more playful. A little bit of light in there, a nice place to rest, a friendly ghost, not terribly scary, but home is a place to rest and for family, so I thought that was appropriate. Then we have the tree. I love this tree. I think it's super spooky. I think it takes on a whole life of its own. I've got the cat. I'm going to try to bring these close again. I've got the skeleton cat right here, another one of my favorite characters that I wanted to use for this deck that inspired the deck. And you see here that the bird is out of the cage and all that's left is one little feather. And then we have a little pumpkin here and the skull and the little mushroom. The mushroom, because sometimes it can be very fortunate. So sometimes it can be very fortunate to be, rooted and uprooted. That's not a word. Grounded and rooted in what you are doing. So that's kind of why I chose that one, because I think sometimes the tree can be fortunate. I realize that some read it as a negative card due to health being too close to you or what have you. I understand that that can be a possibility, but sometimes the tree is just growing roots, putting roots out there, and getting to the root of the issue. right? Which is always great. If we can just get to the root of the issue, then I do think we have a very fortunate experience ahead of us. Okay. The clouds. You'll see the cat again, a little bat down here. But again, I hope that they're just really off to the side and they don't disturb the actual clouds. I like to see a very clear dark patch in my clouds and a light patch in my clouds. So this is dark to light, and that is the clouds card. The snake card. I do kind of like that the snake is kind of going after this moth, so the impression there is that the snake, though the moth knows the snake is looking right at it, it's not a hidden danger, this is an obvious danger, right? When you see a snake, you just kind of jump back. So in this case, it's like a real standoff between the moth and the snake in this one. Okay, the coffin. I just love this coffin. I love the coffin. I love the little hands coming out of here. I love the watercolor detail of it. The little bats. I don't know. It just makes me happy. And a little bit of gate here to kind of keep somebody out if you're not really ready for the end. Here's the bouquet. I just loved all the eyeballs. So I added a bunch of eyeballs in this one to make it kind of a spooky bouquet and yet still would be a pleasant gift. There's a little cobweb here as well. And the scythe. So we've got some like harvest here to kind of cut down. And again, I've included the blood splatter here because it's sudden, it could be cutting, it could be dangerous. And so that's what I wanted to imply with the little blood splatter. Okay. Sometimes this is called the whip. I use the broom in this one because it's Simply Halloween. So why wouldn't you use a broom? And again, you're going to see the witch's cat right up here. And the broom with that kind of, I got to sweep out that ink blot, right? I got to get rid of it. So the broom for me works really well as an alternate to the whip. Sometimes it is called the broom in Lenormand as well. So that's why I went with that one. The birds, another part of the character set that I was absolutely in love with, these little skeleton animals. I don't know, I just love that design so much. It makes me super happy. But there are the birds. The child, I wanted this to be very playful, and thus the little bit of purple that pops in the background here, which just to me says innocence. And then of course, the little child in the mummy costume. So again, this is non-specific in terms of gender. Sometimes I include both a boy and a girl in my deck. Sometimes I choose more than one different child. In this case, I thought it was great because it can represent anybody who wants to be a mummy, and it's just a little bit more playful energy than the rest of the images in the deck. Here's the fox. Again, you can kind of see the skeleton animal. That made me so happy. I love the way the fox is looking over his or her shoulder and sneaking away because it is so manipulative. So I think it's a perfect fox pose. Here's the bear, a little bit bigger in your face, a little bit more intimidating. So I did that on purpose too, and I wanted him in the black and gray, because she's like super, super protective, but I wanted it to stand out from the rest of the deck as well and be kind of a stark reminder of the protection and the heft of the bear. And then we have the stars. Again, the stars are prominent, but down here I've got little bats in a jar that I think are hoping to get out and could be released if they could just find their way to the stars. So again, a nod to the meaning of the card without being overwhelming. Here's the stork. The stork has caught his little spider in his mouth here. So to me that implies, we're getting ready for dinner. We're getting close to eating. So, and I think with the stork, when you're moving toward improvement or migration to a better situation, that's what the implication was there. And then we have the dog and the cat. I'm going to be real honest. The dog is not my favorite in the deck, and I almost left him out. I was just going to go with the cat. And I have a dear, dear friend client who would like to see a spookier dog. I agree. Maybe sometime I'm going to do a version 2.0 of the dog and get you something a little spookier. But for now, we've got the dog. He's got a planchette from the Ouija board around his neck. And then here you can see a pile of bones that he's got, a nice little eyeball toy, and another planchette there. So I thought he was playful and friendly and darling, and he's orange. And so that's how he ended up as the dog. But honestly, the feeling I wanted for the deck was much more of the cat. In your face, going after the raven, the nice bright purple splotch. So Thought about leaving it out, but for those that are real traditional, I left it in. I think the cat for Halloween is appropriate. Oh, my bad. Hold on one second. Oh, maybe they're gone. Then we have the tower. I wanted that to be real spooky. You see how the window is just kind of flapped open, and there could be some spirits coming out of there. I'm not quite exactly sure, but I just thought he worked out really well, this particular tower, just the top of the tower for this card. And then we have the garden. The garden is the one that I usually have just a bit more detail because more characters show up in the garden, right? It's a public place. It's a place where people gather. So I've got the little skeleton bat, the raven, the bats here, a little goat. Let me get him closer. Isn't he cute? Running away. And then, of course, the cemetery in the background in case you were visiting past loved ones in the garden. I think they're bringing up my neighbor's car next door. Hold on one second. Oh my gosh, okay, we missed it. They're still doing my neighbor's car, but they were just doing the clanking of the chains. And I thought, oh my gosh, it sounds like, you know, Marley's ghost from the past or what have you with the little chains going in the background. So I'm going to continue the video and apologize in advance for the noise that's going on in the background. This is the mountain card. And I specifically did choose this kind of bowl to be in the front of the mountain. It's the one card where I think the mountain is probably not as clear a symbol as in the other cards in the deck, but this guy just really does stand in your way. He's an obstacle. You'd have to get past him to get over the mountain and to get into the back area here. But there's a, you know, sometimes we call it a silver lining, but there's a gold lining on the other side of the mountain, so you can make it over the mountain, and that's why I chose that. And here we have the paths. For those of you familiar with my Haunted deck, Haunted Lenormand, same concept in that one. In fact, I used the same Scarecrow and Witchway and Batway. I just thought it was really clever for Halloween in terms of making a choice. So that's what I chose for the paths this time around. And then we have the mice, little playful mice, all dressed up in their little costumes. But of course, the little gnomes are getting away with taking whatever it is that they've gotten. So whether they're taking everybody's treats or what have you, I thought that their motion and moving implied the taking away, and that they were so little, it was taking a little something here and there. And then we have the heart. Just thought the anatomical heart was perfect for Halloween. Oops, my bad. And then we have the ring. Again, I went like kind of crazy spooky on this one. So we got the big eyeball presented on a nice big, that looks like a real comfortable ring. So be real careful what you commit to, I guess, if you see this one. And then we have the book. And behind the cloche here, you can see the closed book and then an open book. I like in my readings to have an option. Sometimes I'll do 2 books when I do my decks. In this case, I just decided to do 1 book card, but it could be either meaning. When the book is closed, it feels to me like you're going to have to work really hard to get the secret. And when the book is open, is that the knowledge is available to you, but you're going to have to, do the work. And if you do, it'll be revealed to you. And then the owl here to indicate knowledge and learning. And then the letter. I love the eyeball up here. Oh, that's one of my favorite things, with the little pen and ink and the little kind of sign off here, spider on it. And I liked the little sigil. Okay, and then I have two couples. I always do 2 couples. Let me just put that down for a second. Gentleman and lady. I like to do them so they could be facing each other or not facing each other. That's kind of a tradition in Lenormand as well. And then, of course, I always include, if you wanted 2 gentlemen for your reading, or if you wanted 2 ladies for your reading, or if you wanted this particular couple, you can kind of mix and match them, and all of them will be able to face each other or away from each other. In addition, for those of you that are interested, because I do have a client that wanted a non-binary edition of this deck. So I have this deck available in non-binary edition, which says on each one of 28 and 29, it simply says person. That's it, just person. It's the same images, but it says person. So for any of you that might be interested in having that, please know that it is available. And here are the lilies. I thought they were kind of different. Here's the sun. Can we get the little, I love the idea of the rabbit and the fertility that a rabbit brings and the multitude and prosperity that a rabbit can signify. So that was a nod to the meaning of the sun card. Plus, I love the way this pops against the black. The moon. I love the little mummy bat hanging under the tree. The key, and I specifically did the skull in the bird cage here because I do think so many of us get locked into our mind, and we have the key to get out. We just don't use it, or we don't reach out and grab it. And so I thought that that added to the meaning of the deck, and yet I still think that the key is the primary symbol in the card. Then we have the fish in a cloche, the anchor. I like the anchor. It's got a little, little spider on it, but it's got that little kind of flowing, looks like a water plant coming up on the side. And then finally we have the cross. I love this cross. I thought it was fabulous. The nice little roses left here along with the skull. And that is it. That is the deck. That is the Simply Halloween Lenormand deck. It's available at divinationapothecary.com, which right now, there it is going to take you to my Etsy store. Maybe someday I'll have a website. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But that's the deck. I hope that you will enjoy it. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to contact me. I'm going to put this on pause for just a second, and I'll do a quick reading for you before I head out. I also forgot to mention that the mat that I'm using here, this is my haunted Halloween mat in the mini size. And that's what I'm doing. I got to tell you, I think that the Simply Halloween looks fabulous on this mat, so I did not design a new mat for the Simply this time around. Okay, and so this is the lovely little message that we receive. First of all, I want you to know that the ship card jumped out, and when the ship card jumped out at me, I thought, oh yeah, we are moving. We have a lot of change. A lot of things are flowing in the world right now, and we're going to have some big changes, like moving to a whole different country, things that are going to feel somewhat foreign to us. That is happening right now. I know I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the Kraken starting to reach up from the water, and then there's the protection of the boat. So some of us, I think, are resisting that just a little bit, but we're moving. So whether or not we're ready, here we go, right? And then I usually read with the card in the middle as primary. So we've got some obstacles ahead, right? We have some things that we're going to have to overcome. There's no doubt about that. So I would say before committing to anything, this is the ring and then the tower, make sure that you have set your boundaries appropriately. Too many of us get out there and we don't set our boundaries, and we're good people. We think everybody else has good intentions, is honest, is whatever. And then we give of ourselves, and then we don't get as much in return as we had hoped. So in terms of committing to that, just make sure you're looking at it from a new perspective. You're getting up a little bit above the situation, not necessarily down mired in it, because you want to see the path over that mountain if you can. It is really tough to go through that cow, that bull, okay? It is tough to get him to move and go through, but you could go over the mountain. You could leap over that obstacle if you would just get a little bit of a higher perspective. Set your boundaries. Make sure you're really clear about what you will and what you won't allow into your life at this time, and then you'll have commitments that are a little bit more healthy for you, okay? So that's the message I'm going to leave you with today. I want to thank you so much for being here. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will see you later. Thank you so much.